Well, guys, another new comic book day is upon us and it is stacked. So it's time to take a look at the books coming out this week so I can tell you what I'm getting. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. On this channel, I review comics, so consider subscribing if you're into that. And this is the latest in the series that I like to call What I'm Getting, where I take a look at the books coming out in the upcoming week. I tell you what's on my pull list, what's on the chopping block, and what books are on the maybe list that I'll be making a game day decision on. And like I said, this week is stacked, and there are some books I'm going to have to chop off so I can make my weekly budget total. But I always like to start with the book that I'm most excited for, and this week, that is Blood Syndicate Season 1, Issue number 6. Now, I try not to put series conclusions in the top spot every week because I want it to be a book that you guys can jump into easily and follow the story pretty well and so on and so forth. But Blood Syndicate, written by Jeff Thorne. I believe Chris Cross is jumping back on the art for this final issue of the arc. And it's just been a great series. You guys know I'm a pretty big Milestone Comics fan, Milestone Media fan. And this Milestone Returns reboot season has been pretty interesting. We've had Static, we've had Hardware, we've had Icon, and Blood Syndicate is the last of like the original 4 titles. And they kind of put Blood Syndicate out a lot later than the others. We thought we weren't getting them back, even though they were teased from the very beginning. But enough about that. So Blood Syndicate Season 1, how do I describe it? Basically, if you're familiar with the original Blood Syndicate, this is kind of a slow walk origin story. It feels almost like the any sort of hood movie, like coming of age movie, like you kind of drop right into the middle of the action. Like, look, this is how it is where we live. Right, this is how it is on the other side of the tracks. And we're introduced to all the main characters. Tech-9, Hannibal, aka Wise Son, Aqua Maria. We've got a lot of different players, and we're learning a bit about each of their individual journeys as they come together to face the threat that is Holocaust, who is, like I said in previous videos, he is on a Beanie Siegel, get down or lay down type mission, trying to recruit any meta or really anyone to his personal cause, which is just for power and wealth and respect, right? It's been a very interesting story, and this is the conclusion of the first story arc. So I'm expecting to see the Blood Syndicate versus Holocaust in an all-out battle, no holds barred. It's going to be a great issue this week. I've talked about it enough. Let's read it. It's coming out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And since Milestone Media is a sort of offshoot of DC Comics, let's continue with the DC Comics on the pull list, starting with Batman vs. Robin issue 3. Batman vs. Robin, written by Mark Waid with art by Mahmoud Asrar. And I didn't realize until I just read out the title of this book that I didn't read issue 2 just yet. So I'm going to grab that on DC Universe Infinite because this endless pile of single issues behind me, who's no telling where it is. I did get caught up though on Batman, Superman World's Finest, which does tie into this series pretty heavily. Basically, Damian Wayne is back from Lazarus Island. He's in Gotham and he's like wreaking havoc on Batman himself. Why is Damian attacking Batman? Well, it's probably being controlled by some outside entity. And if you've been reading Batman, Superman World's Finest, you might know what that entity is. Been an interesting series so far. In this issue, apparently we're getting grown-up Damian. We're getting the return of Batman 666, which is always cool to see. So I got to read issue 2 and get caught up and figure out how we're getting to this point. Batman vs. Robin issue 3 has got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the DC Comics pull. Wait, did I say $3.99? The cover price on this book is $5.99. I might drop this. I might just wait a month and read this digitally. But anyway, next book on the DC Comics pull list is Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths number 6. Now, Dark Crisis, another event that I have been feverishly reading to get caught up on, and I am all the way caught up. and I'm all the way invested in this event. The Justice League was captured by Pariah, who was trying to use their hopeful essence to basically recreate the Infinite Earths and I guess destroy Earth Zero in the process. And, we weren't going to let that stand. So all the DC characters that were left behind who weren't in the regular Justice League or weren't one of the 7 that were, kidnapped basically have been fighting to try to reverse this. And so we've had Deathstroke's army that is possessed by the darkness, the great darkness, versus Dick Grayson, Nightwing, and his crew that, he's basically calling the Titans. Everybody they're trying to reform the Justice League, but they're calling it the Titans. Anyway, issue 6, we should have a pretty good battle. And I guess issue 7 will have the finale of that battle, as well as a bit of epilogue. It's been a good event. I love seeing the entire DC universe at work in a book. It's dope. And by the way, the Dark Crisis event is definitely paying off. If you've been reading a bunch of different DC books, if you start reading all the tie-ins, I'll do a separate Dark Crisis video. How about that? Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths number 6 has a cover price of $4.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the DC Comics pull list is I Am Batman, issue number 15. I Am Batman, written by John Ridley with art by Christian Doucet. Like I said, I'm finally caught up on this series. But I was telling you guys that ever since they put Jace Fox in New York and put the Fox family in New York, I feel like this series has kind of grown legs and really stands alone. It's a really good book, in my opinion. One thing you got to get used to is John Ridley's pacing. He really does pace this like a soap opera where there's 18 different subplots going on at one time. And the transitions from scene to scene are not as seamless as maybe they could be. But anyway, a lot of good story packed into a really good book. In the last issue, we saw Jace Fox kind of go off and just lose it and seemingly beat a man nearly to death. But what we could see was this yellow glow around him. And obviously he's being used by Sinestro somehow. And given the cover of this issue, we're going to learn a little bit more about how Sinestro's pulling strings and get a nice Jace Fox versus Sinestro battle, I guess. Very weird. I mean, not weird, but unexpected. Out of nowhere. It's probably the best way I can describe that. But I'm here for it because Sinestro is sort of exploiting or exploring something that have been valid criticism of Jace since he sort of entered the DC universe last year. So I'm curious to see how Jace works that out. Anyway, very interesting series. I Am Batman. Issue number 15's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on the DC Comics pull list this week is Superman, Son of Kal-El. I didn't write down the issue number. Issue 17. Son of Kal-El, issue 17 is out this week. Part of the Kal-El Returns story arc that's leading up to a brand new Superman relaunch in January. And honestly, I'm still behind. Still behind since the War World saga ended. And I should probably get caught up. But Son of Kal-El, issue 17, written by Tom Taylor. It's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's going to do it for the DC Comics books on the pull list. As long as I stick to the list, those DC books are going to cost me $23 this week. Now, moving on to Marvel, where the first book on the pull list is honestly a maybe book. And this is the A.X.E. Judgment Day Omega. So this is basically the epilogue to the full Judgment Day event. And I had it on the list because I was buying all of Judgment Day and pretty much all the tie-ins, at least all the major tie-ins. But I kind of left the Judgment Day issue 6 just kind of underwhelmed. It wasn't bad. I was just kind of annoyed with it by the time it ended. And it does kind of change the status quo, but I feel like you get the most out of this series if you're an Eternals fan. It's just how it felt. And I don't know what the Omega issue is going to do to add to that, maybe for fans of the Avengers and or the X-Men. And I don't know if it's worth the $4.99 cover price, to me, on an already stacked New Comic Book Week. But it's there on the pull list. And like I said, it's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm going to grab the cover A if I grab it. And the next book on the Marvel pull list this week is Amazing Spider-Man issue 13. So with Amazing Spider-Man issue 12 being one of the better issues, it was just really action-packed. John Romita Jr. does his best work when he's drawing like really high action scenes. But we've been trying to figure out who this new Hobgoblin is, and it was revealed in the last issue that you'll have to read it to see. But we got a very interesting development in this whole Hobgoblin saga. And of course, we're going to figure out how Peter is dealing with it in issue 13. And I guess we're going to see another big epic fight, which will be interesting. Amazing Spider-Man issue 13's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the next book on the Marvel list is actually a maybe book as well. This is not something that I am subscribed to, but with Black Panther Wakanda Forever coming out this week, you know they got to do a Black Panther tie-in series that makes you all excited for the character. This is Black Panther Unconquered #1. Black Panther Unconquered, written by Brian Edward Hill, who also wrote the Killmonger miniseries from 2019. I think the last thing I saw him on was Fallen Angels under the Dawn of X sort of story arcs. If I'm being honest, I never finished reading Fallen Angels. I know Brian Hill does a lot of TV writing, so I think that's what he's been doing in the meantime since Fallen Angels and Batman and the Outsiders and stuff like that ended. He comes highly regarded though. But anyway, this is a story set with T'Challa as the Black Panther, which is great. And he's basically trying to solve a mystery that is deeply entrenched in Wakandan mythos and history. And so this should be a nice, like, sort of journey into the history of Wakanda while challenging T'Challa as a character. And the only reason this is super interesting to me is because we all know T'Challa is not like quite his full, recognizable self, as it stands in the main Black Panther book. So this will be a nice departure from that sort of self-loathing T'Challa we've been getting lately. But Black Panther Unconquered #1's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm going to grab cover A if I do grab it. And the last book on the Marvel Comics pull list is Wolverine, issue number 27. This is the second issue in the Beast Agenda story arc. Basically, the Beast has been kind of shady, and Logan's been the only one standing up to him. So in the last issue, like, Logan is straight up kind of walks out on the Beast's orders, and all of a sudden, the Beast made an appearance at the end that puts Wolverine in a pretty interesting situation and has the Beast looking like a straight up villain. So I'm curious to see how that goes in issue 27. Cover price on this one is $3.99. I'm getting the cover A. And that's it for the Marvel books on my pull list. If I stick to the list, if I buy all of these, did I do this right? Yeah, if I buy all these books, my Marvel total will be $17. I'm thinking I'm going to leave Judgment Day Omega on the shelf. And I don't know. We'll see about Black Panther. But if I buy them all, $17. Now let's move on to the indie books on the list, where the first one from Image Comics is Do a Powerbomb #6. Now I gotta be honest, this is not on my pull list, but I read issues 1 through 5 digitally last week, and then I ordered issue 6 digitally as well. Do a Powerbomb, written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. This is my first Daniel Warren Johnson book. I know he did the Beta Ray Bill and Wonder Woman Dead Earth, but I didn't read those. I did read the first 5 issues of Do a Powerbomb, and some of the best comics reading I've done all year. I didn't jump on this series because it's kind of a love letter to wrestling, but even not being a wrestling fan, it's really a story about family, about sacrifice, about secrets, and what you'll do to overcome like past traumas and hurts. And it got me right in the feels, even as a non-wrestling fan. And that's why I decided to shout it out during the What I'm Getting series, even though it's not on my actual pull list. And there won't be a physical copy of it making its way into my collection. This is a really good book. It's gotta be like top 2 miniseries of the year, especially when we're talking about indie titles. Very, very, very good stuff. So I wanted to shout it out, sing the series praises. You guys can check it out digitally like I did. I think Comixology's got it for like $1 and some change an issue. I got the first 5 issues for less than $5. So do with that information what you will. Do a Powerbomb number 6. I believe the cover price on it will be $3.99. And I'm not buying it digitally or physically. So cover A it is, I guess. But let's move on to the books I am buying, starting with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue 134. We are knee deep, waist deep. That's a great movie. Anyway, we're knee deep in the Armageddon game storyline. And I gotta be honest, I kind of fell behind, like way behind. So much so that this one right here still hasn't been read. And I reviewed half of it on a stream. But anyway, so yeah, whatever. Armageddon game is tied into the TMNT series, starting at issue 132. So we're at 134 now. Basically, we've got like 2 different subplots going on. You got Donatello on a mission in Mutant Town. You got some other turtles headed to Dimension X. There's some interesting stuff going on. I just need to get caught up. TMNT 134 has got a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And the last book on my pull list this week is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Armageddon Game, The Alliance, #1. So we had opening moves. We have the Armageddon Game main series. We have The Alliance. And I think there's one more like 2 to 3 issue miniseries that we'll be getting over the next few months that this Armageddon game is going on. And honestly, man, it's a tie-in for the sake of tie-ins, it seems. They're kind of throwing these books at me a little faster than I can read them or am willing to read them. I don't know. How are we going to put that? So I'm going to grab it because I'm trying to like read all of the Armageddon game, but I don't know how quickly I'm going to get to it. TMNT, the Armageddon game, the Alliance #1 has a cover price of $3.99. I'm going to grab cover A. So because I'm not buying Do a Powerbomb physically, my indie total is only going to be $8 this week. And that brings my grand total for all the books on the pull list to $48. I am so seriously considering not buying the Judgment Day, saving $5 there. And I might not buy Black Panther Unconquered. If I buy it digitally, I might as well buy it physically. So I'll probably keep that one on the list. But I think I'm going to save $5 by not buying this Judgment Day Omega that I know is not going to really be of any consequence. So that's my pull list. I'm going to be spending about $43 this week. What do you guys grabbing? Now, the people that make this video and all of my videos possible are the channel family. Now, if you decided you want to support the channel monetarily, there are 2 levels. There's a squad level and the family level. And it gives you access to behind the scenes updates, early access to some of the main content pillars on the channel, and you get this co-producer status where your names are in the credits of every video as well. So if you like to support the channel in that way, there's a join button down below. But again, I want to know what you guys are buying this week. What's on your pull list? What are you most excited about? What series did you fall off of? And like, you know what? I'm not buying that anymore. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in another video soon. Until then, hope you saw something you liked in this one. If not, hey, that's cool. So you can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.